There comes a moment in life when you have to decide, are you playing it safe or are you all in? This is All In Empowerment, the podcast where we crush fears and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I'm your host, Betsy Martell, coach and adventurer, here to push you past your limits and unlock your full potential. It's time to level up your life because empowerment isn't just a mindset, it's a commitment. So are you ready? Because in this space, we don't tiptoe, we go all in. Okay, well, welcome to All In Empowerment. Today I have Dipti Broker with me, and I don't need these on anymore. We're going to take those off. And so Dipti is a friend of mine from way back when, and we've just recently reconnected, and she's got this great travel vacation business, boutique travel vacation business called Diya Vacations. But we're going to talk today about just kind of your upbringing. Dipti's from India originally. And so she's just going to kind of tell us, kind of how, I want to like touch on, how did you get to the United States? And how did you know that you needed to go into travel, or that was your passion, the right career for you, the right path for you, and just talk about being a mom and all the things that go with it. So that's what we're going to do. So welcome.
Thank you, Betsy.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I am super excited. This is my first ever podcast, so I just hope I don't mess it up.
you can't mess it
Yes.
up more than I already have, so it's
Yeah.
all good.
So just to start with of how I started into the travel business, I think it has, even before I knew that it was my calling, it was basically my father who, after I graduated in bachelor's in finance and accounting.
And you were still, sorry to interrupt, but you were
Yes.
still in India at that
Yes,
time.
I was in Mumbai, India, born and raised in Mumbai, India. And my father, he is a big believer in Vedic astrology. And he guided me and told me that, why don't you do a course in travel and tourism after I did my bachelor's, not knowing what I wanted to do in the finance field. And I think that was the journey of my beginning of being in this industry. And soon I learned that I truly love it. It's been 20 years now that I've been doing it. And and recently I opened up my own travel business, Diya Vacations, which helps busy people, create meaningful vacations. And I cater to all budget travels. So that's how the whole beginning happened. And moving into United States, I think growing up, I always knew I wanted to come to United States. My father had a sister. She lived in Cincinnati, and we had she used to often visit us in Mumbai, and we knew, we've heard stories from her of how the life is in U.S. and the opportunities. And, hearing those stories, I always knew somewhere from deep within that I wanted to move to United States. And luckily I found my husband, who was from Mumbai, India too. And we've been married for almost 21 years. And long story short, we are living here for 21 years.
That's fantastic. And we're gonna get into how you found your husband in a little bit. But
Yes.
So, growing up in the United States, we take it for granted, right? Because
Yes.
we don't know any different. And we always hear about the opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean to you? Because, for us, it probably means something completely different. Like
Yes.
when you were thinking, oh my gosh, I go to the United States for opportunities. What were your opportunities? What was different about the United States compared to India?
I think it's a little bit a mix of both. So I would say I am a big believer in Vedic astrology too. So I was guided by my Vedic coach that I would be living outside of the country of my birth.
Okay.
So that was one of the factors that guided me to move outside of India. And talking about opportunities, it's more about, fulfilling the American dream that we all talk about of having it could be better standard of living or a better lifestyle. Um, so I think with both of these, listening to the stories of what my aunt growing up, she used to tell us that, and it wasn't everything rosy. There were reality checks too. I just felt from deep within that, you know, living outside of India would give me a more fulfilling life than living in India.
Okay. So how often do you go back to India to visit?
Um, I recently lost my parents pretty early on, and now that my kids are a little bit older, I do go back maybe every 2 years or 3 years.
Okay. And what would you say when you go back
Mhm.
is the difference for you? Like when you go back and you kind of imagine yourself, like what if I would have stayed?
Mhm.
Where would I be now compared to where I am now since I moved to the United States? Do you ever have those thoughts or think about
No,
what
I
the
don't.
difference would be?
No, I don't because I've adjusted so well from day one of living here that when I go back to Mumbai, I find it more fast paced now. I'm not able to relate to the life, or I cannot even think of what it would have been because I never imagined my world outside. I mean, I always imagined my world to be in the United States, so I never even gave that a thought of what the
Right.
life would be in Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have been to India and I have to say it was one of the most fascinating trips I've ever been on. It
Yes.
is sensory overload would be the best way to describe it, but for me in a good way.
Yes.
Like I thought it was just absolutely fascinating and I love to take pictures. I love photography.
Mm-hmm.
It is like world-class photography every second of the day, and it's just the colors and how much is happening and
Yes.
there's animals everywhere and I
Yes.
mean it's in the downtown area,
Yes.
you're not like out in the country looking at animals. There's
Yes.
animals everywhere.
Yes.
And I found it absolutely fascinating. Now, do you take people there? Do you have a vacation that you arrange for people in India?
So I do plan on creating like a small group where I can even travel with them and see India with them. So, the advantage of doing that is because I'm from that country, obviously, I know the local language, I know the culture, and also it would be fascinating to, experience India along with the people who I'm traveling with and see their perspective of what they think of how the country is. And I think I'll learn a lot from there. So yes, I do plan on doing that.
Yeah. And I honestly don't think it's for everyone.
Yes.
It is, like I said, a sensory overload. There is poverty that you're going to see.
Yes.
That if you're sensitive to then that's not the place that you want to go for
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote vacation. But I think it's fascinating, going to China, same thing.
Yes.
And I always think it's fascinating because people are, so emotionally affected by it, right? When
Mm-hmm.
they see poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's your first reaction because of
Agree.
the standard in which you came from, your
Mm-hmm.
living standard in which you came from. However, I found it so refreshing that these people are so happy and they have so little.
Yes. Um, so there are two sides of the way when you look at the country, India, is that what I feel is that it has come up so much in terms of tourism and things and the hospitality service is top notch in India.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes, it
will
is.
be treated as like a king or a queen. And also, there are a lot of wellness resorts. There are a lot of themed places that you could visit in India, and there's so much to see because the north is so different than the south. And So yes, you will see poverty along the lines, especially on these metropolitan and big cities. But along with that, I feel that India has so much more to offer, and it's completely, you know, as you mentioned, there's sensory overload, but then there is a lot of experiences that you would get along the way that will be lasting for a life.
Yeah. And overload probably is a good way to describe it,
Yeah.
but it's exhilarating.
It is.
So it's not overload as in, oh my God, I
Yes.
can't wait to get back to my hotel room type of thing. Not
No.
that kind of, it's absolutely exhilarating. You can't, I mean,
Yes.
even when you wake up tired in the morning, you walk out and there's no way you can be tired
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, you just can't. It's absolutely impossible.
I would say it's more of an organized mess,
Yeah.
is what I would describe it if I had to, for somebody who's never visited India. But everybody is taken care of. Nobody goes, is what I feel.
Right. Yes.
Mumbai is just like New York City, busy. That city never sleeps. You will find a place to eat at any given point of time in the night. So it's
and
just
the
a
food.
fun.
The food is so delicious. We were there for 2 weeks and there were a lot of the Americans saying, oh God, I can't wait to
Yes.
go home and get a cheeseburger. And I thought, well, really? Because I could eat this food all the time. In fact, after we came back to the United States, I was like, what is the amount of time that you have to eat American food before you can, look at your partner and say, can we go get Indian food now again? Like, I'll just eat it right away the next day, I
Yeah.
mean, and you feel so healthy.
Yes,
It's a totally different,
it is.
as we know here in the United States, which we're trying to fix, which hopefully will be fixed sooner rather than later, is just all the crappy processed foods and things that we put in our food that are terrible. And there you go, and it's just, it feels so much more natural,
It is. It is. I think it's more like it's cooked. Like growing up, the whole concept of eating, cooking and food, it was cooked every single day. Like we would not even eat what was made for lunch. That like we would not repeat that for dinner. It's only cooked enough so that we consume it. The day,
Right,
the
yes.
minute it's cooked. So the only thing that I definitely miss is the food, because even if I try to make the same recipes at home, it's definitely not the same that you would get back home.
Yeah,
So,
and I have to say that I correct me if I'm wrong, but there almost has to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home somebody, because the amount of time it takes to cook fresh Indian food, it's
Yeah.
a lot, isn't it?
yes. So things have changed too, right? Like my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she used to make everything fresh. But now things have changed so much. There are shortcuts, like we have nowadays for everything, and then there is help
Okay.
too. And you can definitely afford a help that can come and help you. It can be anything. You can have a cook who can come and make fresh food for you every day, or you could have somebody to help you in the kitchen. Help is never an issue to get.
Yes,
In
because
India.
it's very affordable.
Affordable.
That I
Yes.
do know. And actually, one of my favorite massages, actually my favorite massage story um, of all time was in India, because we had, I can't remember, this was years and years ago, but it was a 2.5 hour full. It wasn't just a massage; it was everything.
Wow.
So it was like a body scrub
Mhm.
and mud and massage and Ayurvedic oils and
Right.
steam.
Wow.
It was everything. It was 2.5 hours. And I think it was $75 or something. I mean, it just blows your mind. If you did that
Yes.
here in the States, it would be $500 at least to do that.
For sure.
And yeah, and it was, but they only allow women to massage women and men to massage men.
Yes.
And the men did not know that. nor did we women who said, you guys have to do this.
Yes.
It's the best massage you'll ever have, right?
Yes.
They were not as happy with us when they came out of the massage as we were when we came out of our massage. Because, men are just very sensitive about that stuff.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about a massage in India is that they massage every part of your body pretty much. There's very little that is not massaged. And when I say very little, I mean very little that is not massaged. And it was funny because the woman that I went with,
Yeah.
she told me before we went in,
Yeah.
she'd never been to a spa day.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? And so halfway through the massage, when I realized they're massaging like every part of my body, I'm like, oh, I bet she's left already. She's probably waiting in the, lobby for me, like freaked out, right? And by the way, it's not sexual, just so that we're clear, like it's not
Yes.
weird, but
Yeah.
yes, I mean, if you're not used to having your boobs massaged, that is, but that's
Yeah.
where your pectoral muscles are,
Yes.
But yeah, and so I thought it was absolutely wonderful, but I thought, oh no. So when I came out, and I think I was out first, and then she came out, and so she was trying to talk kind of quietly to me because there were, other ladies in the room.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, and I was like, oh, how did you like your spa day? And she said, are these like the spa days we have in the United States? And I said, oh, no, no, it's not. And she's like, okay, I didn't think so. She's like, and we had such a good laugh about it.
Yes.
And so we decided not to tell the men
Wow.
how in depth this massage was, because it really was a good massage. I mean, the best massage I've ever had in my entire life. And I mean, just overall body treatments and everything. I mean, it was amazing. And but we thought a woman would be massaging them because that's what we're used to in the United States.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Wow,
pretty funny.
that's an amazing story because I think, as you mentioned, so I was used to the Indian way of massage, and when I got my first massage here in the United States, I was a little underwhelmed, thinking, "Oh,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
this
How about
is
my
completely
gluteus
different."
maximus? Anyone
Yes.
want to massage my gluteus maximus for me? Yeah.
Yes.
You don't get it.
Yeah. And what I realized is that they do, here it is more descriptive of what they are going to massage and, how they're going to massage. In India, it's like you just let the masseuse do their job and, they'll take
kind
care of it.
Yeah, and figure
Yes.
out what they need to do.
Do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's funny how, really, when you think about it, how funny is it that they're really kind of, what do I want to say? Not prudish, but a little bit more, covered up and a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, than Americans, right?
Yes.
We're all like,
Yeah.
sex everywhere and, people wearing skimpy clothes everywhere and, the whole 9 yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to India and it's, women can only touch women, men can only touch men and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
And even when I went to take a picture with a man that I didn't know who was Indian, I went to go put my hand on his shoulder and he started giggling. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then they told me, they're like, yeah, you're really not supposed to touch him. And I was like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
But then the massage
Mm-hmm.
is so much more thorough, right?
Yes.
And so
it is.
I was not expecting that at all. And it was really funny because they kept telling me to shower off.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked, there was no towel. And so I was just sitting there after I showered off. And, finally the lady was there and I said, oh, could I get a towel? So she went and got a towel and she dried me off. I thought she was going to hand it to me.
Oh,
So I was standing there like I felt like a toddler, when your toddler gets out of the bath and you dry them all off, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just needed a towel. Like I didn't, but she didn't speak English and I didn't speak Hindi or whatever she spoke, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, it just continued on like that the entire day because I had to take more than one shower. And so it just was kind of a theme for the day. So I just kind of went with it.
Wow. You really got the special treatment then.
I did.
That was amazing.
Oh God, it was so fantastic.
Yeah.
But so tell me, now that we're on our kind of Indian kick at this time, the other thing that we as Americans find fascinating is the arranged marriage.
Yes.
Now, is it called arranged marriage?
Yes.
Okay. So
it
that's
is.
okay.
It is called arranged marriage. My husband and I, we had an arranged marriage. He is from Mumbai too. So for us, it was more like because I wanted to move to United States, there is a matrimonial section in the newspaper, the local newspaper advertisements that my father used to look, and then he used to actually send my resume, which is called biodata, to the boy's family, and then they would, again, there is Vedic astrology involved here, where they would look at the boys, the horoscope and the girl's horoscope, and they would match it and see if it's a right match as per the astrological numbers that they need to match it up to. And then we would meet the families. So yes, it was completely arranged because it was more about, the concept was of families getting married together than the husband and the boy and the girl getting married.
Okay. And then, so Vedic astrology is slightly different from what we think.
From Western astrology, yes.
Yes. So it's your birth time, your birth date, and
place
of birth.
Yes.
Which is completely different than the way that we
Yes.
do it here.
Yes.
So was it one of those things where you grow up with it and you just completely trust it, or was it still scary when you met your husband? Like, was it kind of like,
I think by then, because I've kind of seen my dad follow it so much. So it was kind of a part of us growing up, right from my childhood. So no, not really. I believed in what my father said or did, and I just followed what he told me to do because, I wasn't going to do, I wasn't interested in love marriage. So I thought I would rather trust the process, what my father is telling me to do, and I just went with the flow.
okay.
So
And how would you say overall, and you don't have to tell me how your marriage is or
Yeah.
get into any of that, but has there ever been a point in time when you wished you would have done it differently, or at least tried it differently, or is it
it's just like a regular marriage. We have our ups and downs. We've had few years of rough patches, but we've made it through. It's been 21 years now. Now that I think of it, no, I don't think I would have done anything different because it's been nice.
Yeah.
The journey has been great. So
Yeah. It's it's funny because
Yeah.
after you told me about Vedic astrology, I was
Yes.
like, I have to try this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he told me, he said, absolutely what you're doing is what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, if you want your podcast to be a success, you have to go deep.
Wow.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yes.
So, don't just keep it surface level fun stuff,
Mhm.
get into talking in depth about subjects and things like that. So I don't know why that just came to me as we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So how many dates did you go on before did you get engaged? Is that
Yes.
okay?
So we met for about, so his parents were a little bit, my dad is liberal in the sense that he allowed me to meet the boy for the first time by ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Usually with a arranged marriage, it's usually, the parents would be present when we meet for the first time.
Okay.
And the same was the case for his parents too. So we met for about 5 times before we had our families involved, and then the families met, and then that went on for about, we met about 2 times.
Okay.
So in all, I think the whole process, we said before we got engaged, was about a 15-20 day kind of a, time frame. Because again, remember, he came down for, during the December. So obviously he did not have that much time off from his work.
Right.
So we had about that 2 weeks to decide. We got engaged. So I got engaged in January of 2004 and got married in May of 2004.
Oh,
And I
wow.
moved to United States. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you know that every American listening right now, every American parent is like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
So here's one of my tricky questions. So
Mhm.
you did not live together before you got married.
No, we did not.
You did not have sex before you got married.
No, we
Okay.
did not.
I mean, no, you can tell me the truth. Your parents will never hear this.
For sure, we did not. Oh my God. No, we did not.
Yeah. And
No.
and again, you know, the way it is in the United States now, well, in a lot of places, you know, you live together for a while. How's this working out? You know, are we going to be good in bed together? If not, this could be a disaster.
Yeah.
Things like that. So yeah, so you know that for a lot of Americans, the thought of meeting each other, getting engaged, and getting married. What was from meeting to getting married was how long?
About what? January, 4 months?
4 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So
That's-
that's all. And once he moved, once he came back here, we used to talk on the phone, obviously every single day. But it was funny that, we are still discovering each other, that we used to fight on the phone. And my dad would go like, is the marriage still on? Because he was nervous, because he didn't know what's going on.
Right.
And so I think after I moved to United States, I think that's where my whole journey of living, first of all, in a whole different country, living with somebody that I don't even know, and then rediscovering not only my own self, but even our relationship. So it was I would say the first 3 years were hard, but it was a journey. So,
Okay.
yes.
So I am familiar with traditional Indian weddings, which
Yes.
are very intense.
Yes, ours
There's
was
wardrobe changes.
Yes.
There's
yes.
So how do you pull that off? Any woman in America right now who's engaged is like, oh my God, I couldn't get married and have a big wedding in 4 months.
Yeah. It's normal in India, and another advantage, my husband's family back in Mumbai are into wedding planning and
Okay.
event management, so they are into this business. And it was their first wedding in the family, because it was his oldest son getting married. So they went all out. We have pulling it off in India with these outfits. It's very normal because it's a whole business. You have designers, you have everybody taking care of that for you. And again, it is something which is affordable at every budget.
Right. Which is amazing,
everybody.
because when you see the intricacy and how beautiful these outfits are, even for
Yes.
the men,
Yes,
I mean, very involved. There's nothing plain about them.
there's nothing plain.
No, they're absolutely gorgeous. Very detailed. So in the United States, that would cost so much money.
It was.
Exorbitant amounts of money.
Mhm.
Nobody could afford it except for the
Mhm.
very, very rich.
Mhm.
But also in India, China, you can have clothes made for you in a day or two.
You're absolutely right. And work within the budget that you have. And remember the amount of, it's a very populated country.
Yes.
And they do cater to every budget. So whether you have a budget of $500 to $50,000, you will get what you want, customized to what your budget is and what your preference is.
Right. And it'll still be, I would imagine, at $500, still a pretty cool wedding.
It will be.
Yeah.
Yes. It
Which
will
is
be beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so cool. So if anybody ever has a chance, you could probably Google it, right? To
Yes.
see. Because do you wear white, right? So you wear.
So it's white and red. So
Yes.
you start off with wearing white with a little bit of the red, like the border or the background. It has some red in it.
Okay.
And then once the ceremony is completed, like after you do the whole ceremony of getting married, they the husband side's family, then they drape like a red colored sari along, on my outfit, which symbolizes that now I'm a married woman.
Okay.
So
So what does red mean in Indian culture, the color red?
I think I'm not sure, but I think it means it's a significance that, you're married.
That you're, that you're connected to somebody.
Yes.
Well, for here, I mean, that's heart for us, that's
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
So, obviously Valentine's Day here is all about red.
Red. Yes.
So maybe it's the same. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
so let's get into more of, where you are right now. So your kids are ages
14 and 12.
Okay, I was going to say
Yeah.
13, which was the average of the two. I was like, going to start at 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so 12 and 14. So they are now middle school, high school,
Yeah.
and pretty self-sufficient.
Very self-sufficient. My older one is a daughter, younger one is a boy, and they are super independent, growing up to be great kids.
Yeah. And,
Yes.
But here you are now, where you're now trying to reinvent's not the right way to say it, but you are trying to step into a different chapter of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, and you've always worked.
I've always worked. I even worked in Mumbai. I was working for a travel agency back then. And then when I moved here, I was lucky enough to get my green card within the 6 months of, me moving here to United States. And I've worked in the corporate travel business side of it. So I've always worked. And then I even had my own cruise planners, kind of a franchise business about 10 years ago. But I had to put it in the back burner because, my kids were really young and my husband started working for a startup company. And so I've always worked in the travel business, never gone outside of that. And recently, now that my kids are older, I started Diya Vacations with a new direction and a new goal of helping every family who wants to travel and experience, experience world through travel.
Right. Because, I mean, you know me, I love to travel.
Yes.
I love travel. I love adventure. I love trying new things. I think that everyone should do it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But I like that you're helping people get to these adventures.
Yes.
That, they're not just booking a hotel in Fort Lauderdale, flying down there, spending a week by the pool, and coming home.
Yes.
Right?
No.
Because that's not travel. That's just getting away to a different place, right? Travel to me means really discovering a new place, really discovering new adventures, really discovering a different side of yourself.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm a huge believer in traveling by yourself at least once in your life. I think everybody should go on a vacation by themselves where they can just be themselves, not playing any roles, not being a mom, not being a sister, not being a wife, not being a coworker, nothing. I think it's an amazing life transforming experience. And I know obviously you would arrange that for somebody if they wanted to do that. But I think that's what's cool about what you're doing is that you have that travel bug of really wanting to adventure out and learn new things. And you're helping other people do that. You're not just the travel agent that goes, okay, tell me what your itinerary wants to be and I'll, figure out the, logistics and,
Yeah, so that's the biggest difference, because what I got from my corporate side of the experience of, it's like more of an order taking, right? You want to go from place A to B, you have to take care of the hotels, the transfers, and you're done.
Right.
This is a whole different meaning to travel because one, I'm helping people it's very overwhelming with all the information that is there on Google, that are
Mm-hmm.
you selecting the right vendor? Are you selecting the right hotel? Are you selecting the right experience that you want to get? And will you get the right experience even when you book it online without knowing what you're doing? So for me, that's my role comes in where I take all that, I take it from you and I build the whole itinerary. I make sure that we have vetted great experiences that are not even sometimes Googleable. You won't find those because my partners are my local companies who are staying in that destination for so many years. And when I partner with them, you have a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And that's what my whole goal is with the Diya Vacations, is to help people really travel and experience. And as you said, you might discover something about yourself that you've never discovered
Yeah.
while you're on those trips, and just making memories. Whether you're going by yourself, you're going with family, whether you are um, doing a milestone trip, there's so much. You just I just When they come back, when my clients come back from the trip, and when they share that, the most beautiful thing that I feel great about is that I was part of that memory for them, that I made it happen. So that's the most beautiful thing that I feel.
Yeah.
I just lit up when I hear that from them. So
Yeah. No, that's absolutely gorgeous. I totally relate because the first place I went on vacation by myself. Now I had traveled 2 destinations by myself,
yes,
right? And met people somewhere, right? But
yes,
it was the first time I'd gone to some place I'd never been before, and I went by myself. And I went to an out island of the Bahamas called Exuma.
mm-hmm.
And I loved it so much I kept going back.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time I went back, I felt like I needed to help the people that were there for the first time
Yeah,
experience everything that they could.
yes,
And so I'd meet people, on the beach, or I'd meet them, on the boat, going from one island to the next.
mm-hmm.
And I would say, "Oh, have you been here yet? Oh, have you been there yet?" And they're like, "No, no, we haven't done that. This is our first day or second day. We
Yeah,
haven't."
yeah,
And so I would tell them, "Oh, well, you got to do this. You got to do that.
yeah,
All these things." And make sure that when you do this, you also do that, or
yeah,
you do it like that. And so then I would see them a couple days later, and they would, "Oh my God, you're right. That was so much fun, and thank you for telling us that. We would have never found that on our own."
yeah.
And so I understand what that's like, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like you enjoy it so much that you want to have other people have that same experience.
Absolutely. And it's not only about the fun part of this whole of building the itinerary, helping people out and experience the joy, because it's all, it's something which will definitely be an joyful experience, but it's even about recently I had a client who had to cancel their Hawaii trip last minute because of a emergency that they had in their family. So that's where I stepped in and took care of everything for them. They didn't have to be on hours together with the supplier figuring out what the cancellation fees are, the policies are, because they were busy. They already had too much going on personally in their lives. So that's where even people forget or tend to forget that yes, they can book everything on their own, but in times of such crisis, you do need somebody to fall back upon so that they can take care of it for you and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I've traveled so much, and I've lived overseas and things like that, so I feel pretty comfortable doing that. I've just
Yeah.
kind of over the years planned a lot of trips, but a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yes.
And I was very specific on what I wanted before I
Mm-hmm.
went, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I want to be in a boutique hotel,
Mm-hmm.
because I want it to be a more intimate setting where I get to know
Yes.
people, right? And I want to feel safe.
Yes.
And so how do you find that? For most people, they don't know how to find that.
Yes.
Or they don't want to, right?
Yeah.
They're busy with their 9 to 5 job, and their vacation should be stress free, right? I mean,
Agreed.
so it's like if they have to, spend so much time at the end of the day
Hours,
or on the
yes.
weekend or whatever, right? Hours of going down rabbit holes and Googling and researching and, calling and doing all that stuff. It takes the fun out of the experience, right?
I agree.
Whereas they could just talk to you and say, well, you would ask them, I'm sure, like really important
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. What are you looking for here? What are you looking for
Mhm.
there? Explain to me what, and then you tailor it for them. And I think that's what a lot of people want because
what-
they just don't want to mess with it. And it's gotten to, it was funny. We walked past, I don't even remember where I was. Heartland, I think. Heartland.
Okay.
Yeah, just down the road here. And I was with my friend and we looked in this, business. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's a travel agency? I didn't even think we had travel agencies anymore.
There are a couple of brick and mortar agencies, and I'm so, it's fascinating, and I feel so happy when I see them. And as you said, I had a client who she had just Instagram pictures and a kind of an image or a dream in her mind to do Italy. And just, this was last year. And she showed me those pictures and she's like, will you help me plan this Italy vacation? And just from that inspiration of the Instagram pictures, we built a whole itinerary for her. And she just came back from this vacation and she even took her mother-in-law with her. So her whole family had such an amazing trip. And these were not Googleable, not your, cookie cutter,
Right.
experiences. So she was so grateful that, this happened. And that's what made me think about that. Oh my God, we were 1 year ago just looking at these pictures, trying to figure out what we can do. And I cannot even believe that she's already gone to Italy and her trip is, finished and she's come back with wonderful memories.
Yeah. I mean, and so here on the podcast, I always am talking about how important my whole inspiration for doing this is people pushing past fear,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And getting out of their comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
and igniting their life. It's all about igniting your life. And that's what you facilitate. That's why I wanted to have you on because
Thank you.
that's what you facilitate for people, right?
I do.
Because now here's the thing. Yes. Are you helping them? But yes, you are helping them, but you're not doing it for them.
I'm not.
You're facilitating it. And so they get to go on these experiences, these adventures where they push past their comfort zone because, like for say, I don't know if she'd ever been to Europe before, but
No, she's not. She's
Yeah.
not. And one part of their trip, they had to drive in Italy, and she wasn't comfortable when I explained her that you need to. And then during the trip, she was a pro that they literally had their train. There was one section they had to do a train from Bari to Castera. Their train got canceled. They were pros that they drove up to Amalfi Coast by then. And she messages me, Dipti, we did it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just what you're talking about. They were not at all comfortable to begin with. And then they became so comfortable, like they are driving across the country to their destination.
right. And think of the doors that opens for the rest of their life.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing to me now how many places these people will probably go.
Yes.
This is not their only European trip. This
It's
is not. I mean,
not.
I guarantee that now that they have that confidence, they push past that
Yeah.
fear that they had of going to a foreign country and driving in a foreign country and things like that.
Yeah.
The doors that open up because this world is so amazing.
It is.
And
It
if
is
you don't go
beautiful.
and see it, you're really missing out.
You are. And they are already telling me to plan Greece now as their next destination. So, this is what, when I was thinking, when I started Diya Vacations, as to really what is the deep down purpose, and it's again connected to the Vedic astrology, it is this. It is that helping people experience something that they will never, ever do it in their comfort zone in their own country.
Right.
When you travel, you just see the world differently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's not to say that we don't have absolutely amazingly beautiful destinations in the United States, because we do.
Yes.
And a lot of us Americans never bother to go see them, and they're not that far away.
Yeah.
But there is something different about going to other countries. We become so egocentric in the United States, thinking that everything we do is the best way to do it. Everything we do is perfect. We're the greatest, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I love this country, but there are other countries that do other things better, right?
I agree.
They do food better sometimes. They do, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is. But it's not only that, it's getting to know other people and understanding and accepting different ways of doing things. And really just going with an open mind, because I think that to me is so fascinating. Just family units are different, right?
Yes.
How they go about, like we said, how they go about cooking, how they go about their work, how they structure their work day.
Yes.
When do they go to work? When do they come home? How long do they have for lunch? I just love figuring out all of that stuff. I think I always go to a grocery store in a foreign country or anywhere you travel.
I agree. We were in Peru, and we went to a local grocery store there. And everything was like laid out in such a different way that it was overwhelming for a second, but then that's how we figured out. I think you get to learn so much more about how people's lives are when you go to such local stores or grocery stores. Or I was in Paris, and we went into a local grocery store to look for milk, and we completely forgot that everything is written in French. So we had to open up our small Google dictionary and, figure it out. Even though the pictures and things look same, the ingredients are different. So you're so right. It is fun going into these small shops and grocery stores and figuring out, because you'll get to learn a lot about the culture and the life too.
And the different things that they eat, try. So our thing, we always laugh because you always end up at a gas station at some point when you're traveling, right? Okay. Always.
Yes.
And go in and just look at the potato chip selection.
Oh, that's interesting.
The flavors of potato chips in other countries are really bizarre compared to what we have. You can get hickory smoked steak flavored chips.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
So we always grab a couple bags and try them. And sometimes you try them and you're like, okay, well, those we can throw away because that's not our, but some of them are really good, but it's always just fun to try the different weird flavors. Well, weird for us, right?
Yeah.
And just experience kind of the different flavors of that country. But it's funny because when I moved to Australia, this was the first time. So I was young. I was in my 20s. It was the first time that I realized that you don't need to refrigerate eggs.
Yeah.
I looked all over the grocery store, right? And thank goodness they speak English, because finally I gave up and I was like, they've got to have eggs, right?
Yes.
And so I'm like, excuse me, I can't seem to find the eggs. And they're like, oh, well, they're on the end cap over there. I'm like, the end cap? What?
Yeah.
And sure enough, they're just on shelves.
Yes.
And you should have seen me at first. I'm like, really? These are safe to eat? Because I don't think that's right. And somebody explained it to me that if you don't clean them like we clean them, we take off all the bacteria, all the we sanitize them,
processed,
right?
Everything.
You have to then refrigerate them, because they've lost that protective coating.
Yes.
So that's but people, eggs do not need to be refrigerated.
I think it's only United States.
Yes.
It's not even in Europe, is what I've realized in certain grocery stores that I've seen, that there are eggs lying outside and not refrigerated.
Yeah.
So India too, for that matter. I know they sell eggs, but they keep it on the shelf. So, yes.
So it's amazing.
So right.
It's amazing the little things that you can learn just going to a grocery store, going inside the gas station and checking out what they,
Yeah.
what they offer for snacks and drinks and, all that stuff. I just find it fascinating. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
We
going to
got,
make sure in my next trip is to hit a gas station and see what potato chips are.
yeah, right. No, seriously, you'll be amazed at the potato chip flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, we go to Africa. Well, we've been going every year, it seems like, for the last 3 years. And yeah, fascinating potato chip flavors in
Wow.
Namibia.
Yeah.
I think we looked in Botswana too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we always get some kind of funky flavor that we've never
Funky
had
flavor.
before. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Or-
going to be.
Or we take pictures just to like send home, like look
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
different types
Yeah.
of potato chips.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably have different flavors in India too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I know because they sell it at the Indian grocery
Oh
stores
yeah.
here. And recently I bought one which had the Indian ketchup, the tomato ketchup-y kind of a flavor. And when I tried it, I'm like, no, I don't think it's too tangy for me. So again, not a big potato chips fan. All I like is kettle
chips.
chips.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are good. Okay.
Yes.
I do have to tell you another funny story. There are so many funny stories when you dive into different cultures that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
You will do some pretty funny things.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours was going to come over and cook Indian food for us, and I said, "Great, I'll
Wow.
go out and get the ingredients." Right?
Right.
Pickle was the ingredient. Like,
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, do they want like dill pickles or
Okay. Like
so,
all they said was pickle.
pickle?
Oh,
So
okay.
So I got pickle relish. I got dill pickles. I got like the little, the butter,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
chips,
yeah,
chip
yeah.
pickle. Because I didn't know. And so I put them all on the counter. I thought she was going to die laughing. I mean, just crying, laughing, going to wet her pants, I mean,
Yeah.
she's like, what is this? I'm like, well, you told me to get pickle.
Pickles.
So I
Yeah.
got you every kind.
Yeah.
So do you know what pickle? I don't even remember what it was to this day.
So if you tell me pickles in Indian terms,
Cooking, yeah.
cooking, I'm thinking more about it's more for the ready-made pickles that we get at the Indian grocery
But
store.
it wasn't pickles. It was something totally different.
Oh, I don't know if I've used pickles as an ingredient in the Indian cooking. It
Right.
might be something, you
Yeah.
know,
But it was,
I
it
don't
was,
remember.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was really funny because,
Wow.
oh, my other funny cultural story is Australia, which you think, is, it's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
like the
yeah.
United States. It's,
Yeah.
British, it's, whatever. And we got invited over for tea. Now I had tea in the afternoon
Yeah.
with friends several
Yeah.
times, and we
Yeah.
go over and we drink tea, and there might be some, biscuits that they bring out and things
Yeah.
like that, right? And that's cookies, by the way. It's not actually biscuits, but that was something I had to learn too.
Uh-huh.
And but anyway, so at 6:00, and we're like, so we're sitting at home going, should we eat something before we go? Because
Yes.
gosh, if we're
What if it's,
if we're having tea at 6:00, like, we're going to be pretty hungry,
yeah.
know?
What
So we're
time?
like, well, we probably shouldn't eat too much, right?
Yes.
And so anyway, we had a little snack at home, and we get to their house, and they are like, hey, what kind of wine? You want a Cab Sav? Do you want to, we're like,
For
what?
a tea?
Yeah, we're like, oh, okay, sure. I'll have a Cab Sav. That sounds good, whatever. And then they're like, okay, everybody, let's, sit down at the table. They're having a full on dinner, right?
Oh.
And so now we're eating dinner and drinking our wine and still
Yeah.
thinking like, I don't know, when are we having tea, right?
Yeah.
And so finally I looked up because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't figure it out. And I said, I'm sorry, are we going to have tea? And they looked at me and they're like, well, if you want tea, I can make tea. And I was like, well, you invited us
That's what-
over for tea.
yeah.
And again, the entire table dying laughing. I
Yeah.
mean, just absolutely dying laughing. They're like, oh, that's what we call your dinner or your supper. We refer to it as
Oh.
tea.
Oh.
High tea is what you have in the afternoon where you actually drink tea.
Ah.
But tea is just dinner.
dinner.
I'm
Oh.
like, I mean,
But
seriously.
why would they call it tea?
I don't know. They're Australian. They say lots of weird things.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But there we
that's so
were,
funny.
there's
Yeah.
me. So when are we actually having tea? I mean, they're like, yeah, we're not having tea.
Yeah.
We're having wine. They love to drink.
They love to drink.
Oh
yeah.
my God, they love to drink. Yeah.
So I have a funny story when I moved here, and I go to a restaurant, and this is my first time ever entering into a restaurant in the United States. And I think my husband was parking, or he was not with me somehow. I don't remember how. And I wanted to use the ladies' room. And I asked the server, the hostess there, that where is the loo? Because that's what we are used to
Right.
saying in India,
Yeah.
the British English. And she went blank on me, and she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. She didn't tell me, but I could tell from her facial expression. And then I realized, oh, they must be saying it's something different.
Right.
So these small things. And then, I asked her, okay, where is the ladies' room? And she said, oh, you mean bathroom? I said, yes. So these are the small things, sometimes that you come across, even when you're traveling, or, for me, it was more as moving into United States. So it was like, oh my God, there's so many small different things that are, you don't realize it because you're as a part of your day to day. And then when outside of your own country, that's when you realize, oh, things are different here. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, even within the United States, after high school, I went out, growing up in Wisconsin,
Yes.
and I went out to California for school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hot out there. And so I was walking on campus and I couldn't find it. So I thought I'd stop and ask for it.
Yeah.
So I asked this nice gentleman who worked there.
Yeah.
He was like a groundskeeper or whatever. And I said, excuse me, could you tell me where there's a bubbler? And he looked at me and he said, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And I said, a bubbler.
Yeah.
And he said, what? And so then I thought maybe he was hard of hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not cluing in, right?
Yeah.
So then I talk slower and louder. I'm like, a bubbler. And he looks at me and he goes, finally he looked at me and said, I don't know what that is.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, they don't call, yeah. What's the other? I could not think. I called it a water fountain.
What? That's what even I would say. Probably.
It's a drinking fountain, apparently.
Yeah.
But all I could think of was water fountain. And then he looked at me and said, oh, like drinking fountain?
Yes.
And I said, oh, yes, that thing. And he was like, okay, have a nice day, crazy bubbler lady. But yeah, in Wisconsin, I think, and I want to say that we are the only state that refers to drinking fountains as bubblers. And I had no idea because I had never asked for a bubbler outside of Wisconsin before that moment in time.
Right.
Only to find out, they don't use that term anywhere else in the United States. Oh my God, that was so funny though. The poor guy, and then like I said, I was treating him as if he was, deaf or slow, or maybe he didn't speak English. And so I should say it slower and louder. But yeah, so, all right. So let's, before we wrap this up, and this has been such a great talk, by the way, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to talk about stepping into, because this is hard for all of us. I started this podcast not too long ago, so that was stepping into a whole different life for me. But you're in the process of now transitioning, trying to go full-time into Diya Vacations, because that is where your passion is.
Yes.
What would you say has been holding you back the most from just really diving in, and not practical things? I want to hear like from within.
I think it's the fear of unknown and not knowing where and how this business is going to take me, and what am I going to face? Because obviously everything is not going to be as rosy as we think it is.
Right.
And what am I going to face? And it's just the pure fear of unknown.
Right. Because
that is
because there's
the
fear that it might be hard, fear that you might fail.
Yes.
All those things. But just like you were talking about, facilitating these vacations for people so that they can go into that fear and they can go into that uncomfortable zone.
Yes.
It's the reward that you have to remind yourself of, right?
Yes.
That I am going to, literally, you have to tell yourself, I'm going to fail. I'm going to screw up. It's going to be messy. But I have the capacity to do it. And when I do it, when when I can do this full time and fulfill my passion and help these people,
Yeah.
that the whole thing is that any screw ups or any failures that you have will all be washed away.
You're absolutely right. Yes. And that's what I am pushing myself towards, that, and reminding myself each single day the reward that I'm going to get from this. Plus, I've always worked all my life. So for not having that paycheck for at least for a few years, the consistency of the paycheck for
Right.
next few years is another thing that is stopping me back, because I've always been independent in my own way. So I think these two things but I'm getting clear. I'm getting more stronger each day to take that leap of faith and, get rid of my full-time job and just continue to do this.
Yeah. And what a gift, especially for your daughter, but for your son also,
Yeah.
for her to see you do this.
Yes.
And to make it possible for her to believe that she can do the same thing in her life, because so many of us go into jobs, and I think this is where Indian culture is so cool, using Vedic astrologers and really matching your career with what your true
Yes.
purpose is meant to be. But you grow up in America and you're told to do things a lot of times out of practicality
Yes.
and not out of passion. And I know that a lot of people right now are thinking, well, if we all followed our passion, none of us would be making any money. That's not true. Because I believe that you can follow your passion. And when you do, and you're living in your vision and in your passion, you will figure out a way to make money doing it.
I agree, because money is a byproduct
Yes.
than, the main goal. Because as you said, if you continue to do what you're doing, I will continue to get, people who will reach out to me and tell me, hey, why don't you plan my vacation? So again, I am fulfilling that goal of getting the reward of people experiencing it and not really thinking about the money. The money is really a byproduct that will follow with it.
Right.
So you're right. So that's why I'm every single day I'm trying to push myself to go beyond that and take that leap of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. And every time that you try something, you open the door to other possibilities, right?
That's right.
So even if you go off into Diya Vacations and you put everything into it and somehow it doesn't take off, which I can't believe that's not going to happen, but you have put yourself out there. You
Yes.
have met so many different people.
Yes.
You have worked with so many different people that there's going to be an opportunity in there somewhere
For sure.
that's going to work.
For example, I'm here on this podcast.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be here if we didn't connect and talk about Diya Vacations, and we talked about, that's how we connected, because I started my business and I remember reaching out to you, and, we reconnected and we went out for the dinner, and you mentioned about your podcast. So
Yeah.
I would have never imagined in my life of doing a podcast. So I'm here.
Well,
So,
and to that
yeah.
point, when I started really believing in my purpose in the podcast, and when I was confident in it, and I started telling people about it. Now, if we met and I never mentioned that I
Yeah.
did a podcast
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure about it,
yeah,
and you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
afraid to fail and all the other things, right?
for sure.
Then I wouldn't grow my podcast because nobody would know about it. Nobody would be on it. Nobody.
Yes.
And if I spoke of it in a way where I wasn't totally believing it, you wouldn't have wanted to be on it. Right.
No.
And so I wouldn't have guests on. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
and so it's really all about stepping into and really just, going all in.
Yeah.
We should I should have a bell or something I ring every time I say that on
You
the podcast.
should, yes. Going all in. I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when you go all in on your vision, on your passion, it really just becomes a way of being that enrolls people, right? They want to be a part of it just because you're so like Diya Vacations. I mean, you're so passionate about it that
am.
I'd imagine after this podcast, for everybody listening, if they're thinking of going on vacation, they're definitely looking up Diya Vacations, which by the way is going to be in the show notes. So But go ahead and give us the website.
It is diyavacations.com, which is spelled as DIYA vacations with an S.com.
Yes. Okay. So see, that's easy enough.
Yes.
But it'll be in the show notes so that if people are not, if they're driving right now and they're like, oh, I can't write that down, they can just go to any podcast platform, whatever one they use the most, and it'll be there and they'll be able to get to it there.
Sure.
So.
And also there is a meaning behind my name, Diya Vacations, too. It is, again, related to the word, the Sanskrit word, which means light. So it means that I'm giving light to people in experiencing travel in a whole different way.
Yes, and it's your Bradgelina.
Yes. It is. It is.
Because it's her first two letters of her name and the first two letters of her husband's name.
Yep.
So that's your Bradgelina.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me that. I completely forgot about that. But yes, that's how it started. If we were going to name my daughter Diya, but then now my business name is Diya, so it's like my third child.
I was going to say, and your business is your baby. So,
Yes.
Yes. So,
Yes.
so that's really cool. Well, thank you for being on. And I can't wait to have a check-in. We'll do this again, see where you are in a few months, see what magical
Absolutely.
vacations have occurred. And,
Yes.
Check it all out.
No, thank you for having me on this, Betsy. It was an amazing, you made me feel so comfortable. It's an amazing, I truly enjoyed the talk we had today.
I did too.
Yeah.
And just so y'all know, she was nervous before coming on,
Yeah.
which a lot of guests are. And I always tell them, I'm like, we're just talking. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll ask you questions, you just answer. It's really simple. I know, but
Yeah.
it is. It's daunting.
No,
'cause,
I loved it.
know.
It's fun. It's not as daunting, as overwhelming that I thought it would be. So it's amazing. I really enjoyed it. You made it so comfortable.
Great.
It's amazing.
All right. Well, we'll see you back here. Hear you back here.
Thank you. Yes, I can't wait to
All
come
right.
back. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we always welcome your comments and any suggestions you might have. And please like and follow, subscribe, do that, all that good stuff so that we can get the word out to everybody. All right.
All
Thanks
right.
so much.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.